The Victorian era, spanning Queen Victoria's reign from 1837 to 1901, was a time of immense social change and industrial progress. It was a period of burgeoning industry and scientific advancement. Yet Victorian society clung tightly to tradition, especially in social etiquette. This contrast was most evident in courtship and romance. The era's propriety and decorum shaped every romantic interaction. To navigate the intricate social maze, Victorians relied on etiquette books. These manuals offered detailed instructions on courtship, from introductions to exchanging letters and visits. They were guides for young men and women eager to make a good impression. The rules of courtship were intricate, covering conversation topics, gift exchanges, and conveying interest. Men were advised on chivalry and gentlemanly conduct. They learned how to approach a lady for a dance and escort her home. Women were taught modesty, grace, and discretion. They learned to decline unwanted attention and subtly encourage suitors. These guides ensured courtship was conducted with propriety. Imagine a world without social media or dating apps. In Victorian England, courtship was governed by strict social codes. Etiquette books were indispensable guides for navigating courtship. These manuals, often passed down through families, offered wisdom on romantic pursuit. Authors approached their task with zeal, believing they upheld society's moral fabric. They outlined rules of engagement, ensuring a smooth courtship process. These books covered every aspect of romantic interaction. They detailed making a good first impression and the art of conversation. Taboo topics like financial matters were to be avoided. The guides stressed balancing interest and dignity. Men mastered chivalry without appearing eager, while women projected grace and modesty. Courtship was a delicate dance, executed with precision and decorum. Victorian courtship relied on a subtle, coded language of gestures and gifts. Etiquette books helped decipher these hidden meanings. A lady's choice of fan conveyed messages. Twirling it signaled boredom, while dropping it pleaded for attention. A gentleman's hat, gloves, or feet placement conveyed intentions. These cues were crucial in an era where overt expressions were frowned upon. Gift exchanges were carefully orchestrated. Lavish presents were considered vulgar. Gifts had to be chosen with symbolic alignment to courtship stages. Flowers were popular, with each type and color carrying significance. A single red rose declared love, while violets symbolized modesty. Etiquette books ensured suitors sent the right message with their gifts. Etiquette books provided instructions for social events, primary settings for courtship. Balls, dances, and dinner parties were opportunities for observing potential partners. These gatherings were elaborate mating dances scrutinized by chaperones and onlookers. Etiquette books guided navigating these social minefields. They outlined approaching a lady for a dance and acceptable conversation topics. Young ladies learned grace and decorum on the dance floor. They mastered politely declining dances and encouraging suitors. Even a stroll in the park had social rules. These guides provided a roadmap for Victorian courtship. For a Victorian gentleman, chivalry and respect were key to courtship. Etiquette books stressed restraint in expressing admiration. Excessive compliments or declarations were inappropriate. Such forwardness could jeopardize a lady's reputation. A gentleman conveyed interest through subtle gestures. Conversation was governed by strict codes. Boasting was frowned upon, as were forward or controversial topics. A gentleman engaged in stimulating conversation without being too personal. The key was balancing wit and charm without overshadowing the lady. Victorian courtship was a dance of restraint and subtle seduction. Gift-giving in Victorian courtship was laden with symbolism. A gentleman's gifts were scrutinized for value and timing. Lavish gifts early in courtship were inappropriate. Gifts had to be modest and tasteful. Flowers were popular, with each type and color carrying significance. A single red rose declared love, while violets symbolized modesty. Acceptable gifts included poetry books, sheet music, or small crafted objects. The key was thoughtfulness without extravagance. A gentleman risked appearing insincere with expensive gifts early in courtship. Chivalry was paramount in Victorian courtship. A gentleman was a lady's protector and champion. He offered his arm, shielded her from the elements, and ensured her comfort. At social gatherings, he fetched refreshments and navigated the dance floor with grace. Chivalry was not ownership or control. A gentleman respected a lady's boundaries. Public displays of affection were taboo. Even private expressions were kept within propriety. A lady's reputation was paramount. Victorian chivalry balanced protection and respect. For a Victorian woman, courtship was a balancing act. Her reputation was a fragile flower, easily bruised by scandal. Etiquette books emphasized modesty, grace, and discretion. Women assumed a passive role, subtly encouraging suitors. Their conduct was under constant scrutiny. A single misstep could lead to social ostracism. A lady's reputation was her most valuable asset. Female virtue was tied to social, economic, and cultural factors. A pristine reputation was crucial for a stable marriage. Victorian women had agency in courtship through charm and discretion. Etiquette books detailed the art of subtle encouragement. A lady's gaze was a powerful tool. A fleeting glance conveyed meaning, while prolonged eye contact was bold. The language of the fan conveyed messages. Conversation signaled receptiveness to advances. A lady engaged in discussions without overshadowing the gentleman. She avoided intellectual superiority or challenging opinions. The key was being an engaging conversationalist without appearing eager. It was a delicate dance of social cues. Forwardness was the ultimate social sin for Victorian ladies. Etiquette books warned against assertive behavior. Initiating conversations or expressing opinions forcefully was frowned upon. Such behavior disrupted courtship dynamics. Men were the pursuers, women the pursued. A lady who reversed roles was viewed with suspicion. She had to master strategic passivity, subtly guiding courtship without steering the ship. It was a dance of patience and restraint for a respectable marriage. Engagement marked a pivotal transition in the lives of Victorian couples. It signified a deepening commitment and brought new social expectations, especially for the woman. Now a bride-to-be, her every action was scrutinized as she prepared for marriage. Etiquette books outlined the do's and don'ts of engagement with meticulous detail. Engagement was a time to solidify their bond, but interactions were carefully orchestrated. Public displays of affection were strictly forbidden. A chaste kiss under a chaperone's watchful eyes was acceptable, but anything more was scandalous. Love was a private affair, revealed within marriage, not flaunted publicly. It was a time for quiet intimacy, building trust and respect for married life. The engagement period allowed couples to cultivate emotional intimacy. They spent time together under chaperones, engaging in suitable activities. Walks in the park, visits to museums and art galleries, and attendance at concerts and plays provided opportunities for conversation and shared experiences. Letter writing flourished during engagement. These letters became treasured repositories of a couple's burgeoning love, their hopes, dreams, and fears shared within the written word. Gift-giving played a significant role during engagement. Jewelry, particularly sentimental pieces like lockets, became popular tokens of affection. These gifts, imbued with personal meaning, served as tangible expressions of love and devotion. Dancing, a beloved pastime in Victorian society, served as a vibrant stage upon which young men and women could showcase their grace, elegance, and most importantly, their adherence to the intricate rules of social decorum. Balls and dances, hosted in grand ballrooms or more intimate drawing rooms, were not merely occasions for amusement, but carefully orchestrated events where every twirl, dip, and glance was imbued with social significance. Etiquette books dedicated countless pages to the nuances of dance floor etiquette, outlining everything from the proper way to extend an invitation to dance to the appropriate length of time a gentleman could hold a lady's hand without raising eyebrows. These rules, while seemingly rigid, were designed to ensure that dancing, a physically intimate activity, remained within the bounds of propriety, preserving the reputations of all involved. A gentleman, for instance, could not simply approach any lady he fancied and request a dance. He had to be formally introduced by a chaperone or another gentleman known to the lady in question. This introduction, often a brief exchange of names and a polite bow, served as a social contract, ensuring that the lady was not placed in the compromising position of refusing a dance from a stranger, an act that could potentially damage her reputation. Once an introduction was made, a gentleman could then extend an invitation to dance, phrasing his request with utmost courtesy and respect. A lady was well within her rights to decline, citing fatigue or a prior engagement, but a string of refusals could be interpreted as a sign of disinterest, potentially discouraging further advances from the gentleman in question. Even the seemingly simple act of taking a stroll in the park, a popular pastime for Victorian couples, was governed by strict codes of conduct. These outings, often chaperoned affairs, provided a welcome respite from the confines of drawing rooms and ballrooms, allowing couples to converse more freely amidst the beauty of nature. However, even in this seemingly relaxed setting, propriety reigned supreme, dictating everything from the appropriate distance a couple could walk together to the topics deemed suitable for conversation. A gentleman, for instance, was expected to offer a lady his arm as a gesture of respect and protection, but this physical contact was to be maintained with utmost decorum, their arms brushing lightly rather than intertwined. The lady, in turn, was expected to accept this offer gracefully, maintaining a dignified posture and avoiding any behavior that might be construed as overly familiar or worse, flirtatious. Conversation, too, was a carefully orchestrated affair. Topics considered too personal, controversial, or suggestive were strictly off limits, replaced by discussions of literature, art, current events, or other subjects deemed suitable for polite company. A gentleman was expected to be well versed in a variety of topics, demonstrating his intellect and wit without overshadowing the lady or making her uncomfortable. Travel, in the age of steam engines and grand voyages, presented unique opportunities for social interaction and consequently unique challenges to the maintenance of Victorian decorum. Train journeys, in particular, provided ample opportunity for chance encounters and prolonged interactions between strangers, often in close quarters. Etiquette books, ever attuned to the nuances of social conduct, offer detailed guidance on navigating these potentially perilous situations, ensuring that travelers, particularly unaccompanied ladies, could maintain their reputations while adhering to the dictates of propriety. A gentleman, encountering a lady traveling alone, was expected to offer assistance with her luggage, secure a comfortable seat for her, and engage in polite conversation if she seemed receptive. However, he had to tread carefully, avoiding any behavior that might be construed as overly forward or intrusive. A lady, in turn, was expected to accept such courtesies with grace and gratitude while maintaining a dignified reserve and avoiding any actions that might be misconstrued as encouragement. The key, as always, was to strike a delicate balance between politeness and distance, ensuring that these chance encounters remained within the bounds of social acceptability. Looking back through the lens of time, the intricate dance of Victorian courtship can appear both fascinating and bewildering to our modern sensibilities. The strict rules of etiquette, the emphasis on restraint and decorum, and the subtle language of fans and flowers might seem quaint to us today. Yet upon closer examination we find echoes of these Victorian values still resonating in our modern-day relationships. While we may no longer rely on chaperones or consult etiquette books, the principles of respect, consideration, and honesty remain timeless cornerstones of any successful relationship. The Victorian emphasis on chivalry might seem outdated, yet the sentiment of treating one's partner with courtesy and consideration transcends any era. The art of listening attentively and offering a helping hand, demonstrating genuine care for one's partner's well-being, remains relevant today. The digital age, with its endless possibilities for connection and communication, has undoubtedly transformed the landscape of romance, offering unprecedented opportunities for meeting potential partners and exploring compatibility. Yet, amidst the swiping and liking, the virtual winks and carefully curated online personas, there's a growing desire for authenticity, for genuine connection that transcends the superficiality of the digital realm. Perhaps in our quest for meaningful relationships, we can learn from the Victorians not by mimicking their rigid rules, but by embracing the spirit behind them. The Victorian emphasis on courtship, on taking the time to truly get to know a potential partner, to engage in meaningful conversations, and to build a foundation of mutual respect and understanding, offers valuable lessons for navigating the complexities of modern love. While the tools and technologies of courtship have evolved dramatically since the Victorian era, the fundamental human longing for connection, intimacy, and love remains unchanged. We still yearn for that special someone who will make our hearts race, who will challenge and inspire us, and who will stand by our side through life's inevitable ups and downs. The challenge, then, is to navigate the ever-evolving landscape of love and relationships armed with both the wisdom of the past and the possibilities of the present, forging connections that are both meaningful and enduring. As we venture forth into the uncharted territory of 21st century romance, perhaps we can all benefit from a touch of Victorian sensibility, a reminder that true love, like a fine wine, only gets better with time.